A guy thought his wife was cheating on him. He waited for her to leave that night and jumped in a cab to follow her. By following her, he found out she was working in a whorehouse. The guy says to the cabbie, "Wanna make a $100? The cabbie says, "Sure, what do I have to do?" The guy replies that all the cabbie has to do is go inside the whorehouse, grab his wife, put her in the back of the cab, and take them home. The cabbie goes in. A couple of minutes later, the whorehouse door gets kicked open, and the cabbie starts dragging out this woman who is kicking, biting, punching, and fighting all the way to the cab. The cabbie opens the door to the cab, throws the girl inside, and tells the man, "Here. Hold her." The man looks down at the girl and yells to the cabbie, "This ain't my wife." The cabbie replied, "I know. It's mine, I'm going back in for yours." My friends laughed at me when I told them I had a hot date and they said she was imaginary. Well, the joke's on them, they're imaginary too. The guy sat next to me on the train pulled out a photo of his wife and said, "She's beautiful, isn't she?" I said, "If you think she's beautiful, you should see my girlfriend, mate." He said, "Why? Is she a stunner?" I said, "No, she's an optician." I told my wife that the milkman said he had shagged every woman in our road except one. "I bet it's the snooty bitch at number 23, she replied. A charity worker stopped me in the street and asked if I fancied taking part in a marathon. I was going to decline, but he told me it was for disabled kids and children with severe learning difficulties. I thought, funk me, I might win this. I don't own this joke, but I haven't forgotten about it for 5 years. Son, Dad, I have to do a special report for school. Can I ask you a question? Father, sure son. What's the question? Son, what is politics? Father, well, let's take our home for an example. I am the wage earner, so let's call me capitalism. Your mother is the administrator of money, so we'll call her government. We take care of your need, so let's call you the people. We'll call the maid the working class, and your little brother, we can call the future. Do you understand, son? Son, I'm not really sure, Dad. I'll have to think about it. That night, awakened by his brothers crying, the boy went to see what was wrong. Discovering that the baby had seriously soiled his diaper, the boy went to his parents' room and found his mother sound asleep. He went to the maid's room, where, peeking through the keyhole, he saw his father in bed with the maid. The boy's knocking went totally unheeded by his father and the maid, so the boy returned to his room and went back to sleep. The next morning he reported to his father. Son, Dad, now I think I understand what politics is. Father, good son. Can you explain it to me in your own words? Son, well, Dad, while capitalism is screwing the working class, government is sound asleep, the people are being completely ignored, and the future is full of shit. What do you call a priest that becomes a lawyer? A father-in-law. How do you get Trump to change a light bulb? Tell him Obama put it in. 3 brothers aged 92, 94, and 96 live in a house together. One night the 96-year-old draws a bath, puts his foot in and pauses. He yells down the stairs, "Was I getting in or out of the bath?" The 94-year-old yells back, "I don't know, I'll come up and see." He starts up the stairs and pauses, then he yells, "Was I going up the stairs or coming down?" The 92-year-old was sitting at the kitchen table having coffee listening to his brothers. He shakes his head and says, "I sure hope I never get that forgetful." He knocks on wood for good luck. He then yells, "I'll come up and help both of you as soon as I see who's at the door." An old couple has their friends over for dinner one evening, and after the meal the 2 men retire to the living room while the women remain chatting at the table. The one guy says to his friend, "Hey, we went to a really great restaurant last week and I think you'd really like it. They had good portions for low prices, and it was all really tasty." Sounds great. I'll have to check it out. What's the place called? The first guy furrows his brow and thinks for a moment, struggling to remember. What's the name of that flower? They're usually red or pink, you give them for Valentine's, thorny stems. A rose? Yeah, that's it. And shouts to the next room, "Hey Rose. What's the name of that restaurant we went to?" 4 Catholic ladies are having coffee together, discussing how important their children are. The first one tells her friends, "My son is a priest. When he walks into a room, everyone calls him father. The second Catholic woman chirps, "Well, my son is a bishop." Whenever he walks into a room, people say, "Your Grace." The third Catholic woman says smugly, "Well, not to put you down, but my son is a cardinal." Whenever he walks into a room, people say, "Your Eminence." The fourth Catholic woman sips her coffee in silence. The first three women give her a subtle "well." She replies, "My son is a charismatic, 6 feet 2 inches, hard-bodied male stripper." Whenever he walks into a room, people say, "My God. Why do Reddit users hate Facebook?" Because you need to have friends to be on Facebook. Your mom is so fat she starts the alphabet with the letter O. OBCD. I scared the postman today by going to the door completely naked. I'm not sure what scared him more, my naked body or the fact I knew where he lived.